What was your own feeling about or attitude towards Jewishness growing up?
Um, it was primarily when I was growing up an ethnic thing. I think that in my high school, for example, I can look back to high school is probably the best place for me to look. I remember like a specific thing where there was a fashion, this was I guess in the late 90s or the mid 90s, there was a fashion of buying sneakers or buying clothing that somehow matched the colors of whatever national origin you had. So like I remember Nike was making like Dominican Republic Air Force Ones, and there was like this kind of cultural pride in wherever you came from, Jamaica, Italy, wherever, Greece, I remember Albania was one. There was clothing. It was specifically clothing. And I said to myself, well, I got to be fly. Like I have to come up with what I'm going to do. And I remember specifically going to like Foot Locker or something in the Trumbull Mall and buying blue and white Air Force Ones. Not because I had any Zionist zeal, but because like this to me was a way that I could explain how I was expressing my Jewishness. And it was, I look back on it as kind of like a superficial laugh, but it really does form the foundation of how I thought about being Jewish. Was not so much of a question of like white and black, but just a question of having like a history. Because in my high school, in my education, people were really into like being whatever culture their parents were expressing to them, were trying to pass down to them and transmit to them. And I felt afloat or at sea in that world. And so Jewishness was always a way of trying to return to trying to synthesize myself with the rest of, my peer group, my social environment. And so yeah, I would say it was purely ethnic. I was not about, being a light unto the nations. It was kind of just, well, I don't feel Italian, and I don't feel Puerto Rican, and I'm not. So what am I? And that was how I think it developed. Yeah.